What's up, guys? Mitchell and Mitchell here, sip and spill with my girl Kimmi Kim, your boy Ed. Here we go in the house.
What's up, y'all?
What's going on, Kimmi? I had a question. So one of the show on the show we're talking
Mhm.
about today about controlling your emotions, and there's this misconception. This is what I was going to ask you: is there's a misconception that women are more emotional or less control of their emotions than men? Um, that's been said. I think that that might have been debunked in
Mhm.
recent years. What are your thoughts on that particular question? That we'll go further into controlling emotions and going from there.
I think women are. I would say there's some relevance to both sides. I think that women, um, they're emotional more. They show emotions more. But when it comes to a man, it depends on the actual situation that they're in. Men can become very emotional depending on what is relevant to them versus a woman emotions is shared simply for the fact that that particular thing is relevant out, without goes without saying. Being a
Mhm.
mother, they child, or they mad made them mad, or just being mad at a friend or whatever. We just more outspoken that way. So
Okay.
right out the gate. But a man can become extremely emotional as well when you are when it's something that is relevant to him, such as his family or his job. That can come. The man is defines it. The way a man define himself and the way he look at himself as a man. If any of that type of way is affected in any kind of way, then he can definitely become emotional. From his
Hmm.
wife to his job to being able to have this kind of money and be able to provide that particular way, and that's taken away from him or demolished or demeaned in any kind of way, then hell yeah, he's emotional.
Mm.
You would definitely see that, and whichever way it want to come out, but it come out.
I think that I think that I think that men hold. I think we're just as emotional, if not more emotional. We're just not as frequent with expressing, like you said. I think it has a lot to do with how we grew up making or masking it. It's so funny because emotion is emotion, whether you express it or not. So everybody has the same amount of emotions. So women and men, we both have emotions. Certain things trigger you more than may trigger me, but vice versa. So let's look at basic stuff. Like, um, I think that there are more things that are more pertinent to women that women look at and that may bother them. But let's look at like simple stuff like sports.
Hmm.
Just imagine you've been around your kids, your partners, or whatever. And it's like something happened on the game, they lose their shit. You like,
Yeah.
it's not that serious. Like
Hmm.
you were there with them, rooting the team on, going to the games and everything. But
Right.
yet still something happened. You just not as you're not breaking the TV.
Right.
You're just not as mad. You
But
know,
that's not
or
that's
you,
not
you
right for you to say, because to him it's like it meant everything. That everything that LeBron make that shot. I can't
right.
believe he didn't make that shot.
Right, and so that's an emotion, and we look at them like this stuff that's just things that's important to us, and because we may not have a lot of things that we care about outside of what you said earlier, job, family, woman, or whatever, or the games. But think about it: some guys are real sports nuts, and they watch a lot of different sports and a lot of different teams.
Hmm.
So that's their way of emotion, or expressing their emotion. I think in some ways.
Right.
And it's so funny because that's our way of expressing our emotions. Something you said in our show we did about the parents, and you were like, you had these boys and you had stuff going on, so you would put on the show and make it seem like, oh, this show got me so, but it really wasn't the show. And
Right.
it's the same thing. We kind of put that emotion into to the sports and stuff like that. But you could be there watching the show with us, the sports show, going to the games, wearing all the paraphernalia, face painted and everything,
Right.
and they lose and you ain't punching no holes in the walls. You're like, man, they
Right.
lost. All right, man, we tried. You move around. The college girl, what we doing tonight? We still throwing off an hour later, which means emotions are still there. But controlling your emotions, I really want to hear your perception on that or your thought on that because controlling emotions is a whole thing. I know for a man, because we're out of practice
Yeah.
we're out of practice of expressing emotions regularly. We don't know what to do because the emotion will come upon us and we're like unfamiliar territory. And then we just go caveman style sometimes. So I want to hear your perspective on controlling your emotions. Like, what do what are your perspective on this subject in general?
Well, I'm gonna say control emotions. I want to talk about it in terms of being a man
Mm,
and expressing to his woman or his children. Um, I would say a man controls his emotions because that's the way he was taught. You know, either kind of way anybody want to say it to be about how a man is supposed to be. You grew up, I grew up, and even now with today with the millennials, it's simply stated and said that a man is supposed to basically not to show emotion. He's not supposed to cry. You don't cry. So they feel things, but then when they get in a relationship, the woman's like, so you just act like you don't care about nothing, huh? It don't bother you? It don't
no.
bother you that I'm upset? It don't bother you that affected me? And then you looking at her like, babe, I said I was sorry. That's it? And then y'all don't know what to do with that because that's your limited level of mind frame of you're hurt. This is what I know what to say. And that's been taught in a man's DNA. And if he don't care about you, hell, you ain't gonna even get that. And even if he do care about you and he care about you with a certain benefit or purpose, that's all the hell you gonna get with the most craziest, overwhelming, I'm sorry, that don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just a quick answer. So I feel like men control their emotions, this already controlled with their DNA.
Is it controlled or is it suppressed?
I think it's more suppressed and then it become controlled when something in their life that they feel that they want to react to and they just simply feel like they can't, so they control it. But then each man, it happens to every man. It don't always got to be a spouse. It don't always got to be that main girlfriend or it just can be certain people in your life. You just meet that person and all of a sudden a man can express exactly how he feel about everything. And then another person that known that person will go, man, because this has been said to me a lot, and I can say this with conviction. How can he just talk to you? How he just talk to you? He can't talk to me. When
Mm,
a man needs to express his emotion, the playing field got to be leveled. You
mm,
understand me? It can't be a bump in the road. Women, we gonna hop over shit. I ain't wearing my heels, not my good shoes in that mud. A
mm,
man, it can't be no damn mud. It can't be no rain. It can't be none of that. He gotta feel sunshine, sunflowers everywhere for him to let that rain fall. You understand me? He
mm,
needs to feel and know that it's damn sure an absolute, unequivocal, unquestioned safe place.
mm,
He hit that ball, goddamn it, he know it's gonna be safe. He ain't trying to get it to where he gotta run and catch, you gotta pick it up. Oh, this person may got it. It has to be safe. My number one tool that being a mother of sons that I needed to make sure still to this day, as they become older men and become into their own and have children, home is where they mom at. I gotta make home be safe. No matter what we go through, my boys know at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to say what I need to say to mama because it's safe. Now, most men in the world, just like you did, bless your mother's heart, but you knew it was safe to go talk to your mom.
mhm,
Okay? That's the first thing y'all have. But as you become older, you lose that. You only leave that with mama and mama only. You get married, everything. You still like, nah, because when you get married, you can't be that little boy with the thumb in the mouth and mama gonna fix it. Come on, mama, get that off your mouth, baby.
mm.
My boys say to me all the time, mama, it's just, you just be acting like, we babies. And I'm like, the last time I checked when I gave birth to you, you didn't come with a packet of instructions that told me that when you become this particular age, you will no longer be my baby. So
Right,
I'm not finna apologize for the fact that your ass gonna be my baby for life.
right,
Now, when you have your own baby, you're gonna feel that way. Now, you might
right.
feel I might treat and react a certain way, but I tell you something, I bet you would rather have somebody walking around than call you their baby without a shot of a doubt. You know that I love you unconditionally. I'm gonna show up, rain, sleet, or fall. I'm gonna be there. You love that type of contentment for sure, assurance in your head. You got that in your mama.
Right.
With everybody and any other woman in your life, you question that, but you don't question that with your mama. And if your mama failed in any one of those areas, that shit rips your soul. You understand me? It's nothing like a man that is broken by his mama. Nothing like it. I've seen it plenty of times. The first queen of his life breaks him. It's no different than a woman being broken by her dad.
Oh wow.
Nothing. I can never say for me, I can speak on my experience with my father. All my life, I wanted my father. My father didn't even know I exist. He didn't even know he had a daughter. So when I found my father, we built and we had great 16 and a half years together. That's all I've had with my father. And I learned who he was, what he did, and how he became. But I won't say that I was broken from the relationship of my father, but I was broken from the absence of my father. But him not knowing I exist, me not knowing where he was, that's all it can ever be. That's my story. That's how I go. But say you living in a house. I was living in a house with my mother who had a husband. My relationship with my stepfather was entirely broken. Why? Because he didn't love me with intention and purpose, because I wasn't his. Some men do that. Some women do that with children that's not theirs. But he didn't have that. He specifically made it extremely clear that my mother's children was her children, but the children that she gave birth to was his and his alone.
Wow.
So that comes with brokenness, right? So just like, it tears you up. So you want that love and you looking for that love. And most of the times we think we see it when a man say, I love you, or buy you a gift or spend a little time with you. He get what he want and then he gone and then you questioning it. But you got daddy issues, we've probably heard all the time. So that emotion becomes stabilized when you think you got a man that is fixing that. I remember I made this statement, Ed. I said, so what I'm looking for, this is before I even knew what, marriage or boyfriend and all this. I said, but when I get a guy, I said, he needs to be my daddy. He needs to be my man. He needs to be my best friend. And everybody's like, he needs to be your daddy.
Your
and
zaddy.
So your daddy. Yeah, I said he needs to be my daddy.
I say your zaddy.
Then I was saying that. But when I was younger, I was saying he needs to be my daddy. And then it was like, why you say that? And now you hear this say, people say zaddy and stuff like that. But real talk, that's really true. Because if you didn't have a daddy, who you think gonna be your daddy? Not in that terms, but he is a provider, right? Your husband, your man. He is a protector, right? That's daddy. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I meant. At a very young age, I said that, not knowing what that actually meant in detail. So the same thing with a man, with his mom. You understand what I'm saying? He needs that loving and nurturing and safe place and be able to say, baby, this hurt. The way they talk to me on the job, I want to be able to provide and take care of y'all. But that shit hurt, man. Like, so I got to keep taking this shit from this man. You know what I'm saying? Man, I got this, I got that. We're going to do a show. And I just channeled that for a second because this is what a lot of my brothers that go through, that's felons and dealing with child support and being black. You understand me? I cannot wait to do that show. And that is that issue right there, that alone, a man suffering in silence because he's trying to do the right damn thing. And then he got all this other things coming up. That shit do exist. Not the brothers just sitting up making an excuse and lackadaisy and lazy as hell and saying they can't do nothing. I'm talking about men that are absolutely qualified, that is putting in the work, but still getting tore down.
Right.
So that puts them in a place. Men, to me, they are very simple creatures. I say this. They really is. It takes the time to know what creature you're dealing with. Now, Ed might have said, I heard him say before, some men can say, hell, I'm a monster. You're a monster because you hurt a woman's feelings. You're a monster because you cheated, right? Is a woman a monster because she cheated and she lied and hurt your feelings or did the same thing to a man, had a baby on a man? You know what I'm saying? Went on, thought there was a woman, been sleeping with your best friend, sleeping with your sister, put kids in her. Is she a monster? So what I'm saying is at the end of the day, it's not what you did, it's not how you started, and it's not what they call you. It's what you answer to, it's how you finish, and it's how you show up. Because we're not without mistakes. We are all human. It depends on, you could say, well, this person is this way because she didn't have a daddy growing up. And this person this way because she did have a daddy growing up, but he was doing this. Or he did have a mama, she was doing this. Or his parents was like this. That's the way he was raised. They rose up from poverty. Well, they was like this because they had all this. Well, I can say I'm a child that lived in both type of homes. I had poverty parents, projects, and then I had parents that lived in the hundreds and taught me, okay, you're gonna be a woman, you're gonna make your bread, you're gonna do this and that. I had them on both. And guess what, guys? At the end of the day, Kimmi Kim had to make her own decision to push them both out, and I became me. Because at the end of the day, that became my experience. See, they didn't experience that. Either most people back in the day they had all poverty growing up. You
Right.
got kids nowadays, they got families that they made that bread, they knew how to did it. The kids that did was poverty, they now parents and they providing for their kids. But still, those children got to grow up as well, and they got to have their own experience. Then what's their experience? Their struggle experience for their children. All those emotions, you have to decipher through them on a consistent and constant basis. I feel like more importantly is ownership again. I'm going to constantly keep saying that.
Right.
You need to know when and how to speak and what to say. And if you need something from your mate, you have to find that way to be able to get that. And a lot of times, I'm going to say this, when I was in my marriage, a lot of times when I could not reach, and I do this in all my relationships, but I'm just saying on the highest level of everybody, look at the highest relationship you could be in is marriage. It was no way that he was going to be able to provide me all my needs. I think it's simply unfair to put that on anyone. That's not, if you're getting married for that, then your marriage, you already set it up to fail. Because he and she gonna fall short because we're human.
Right.
And then if they gonna do all that, then what you need God for?
Damn.
So at the end of the day, you have to be able to have some leg room to be able to say, I can't reach him. So that's when I went to my knees and say, God, I need you to reach him. I literally can say I did this one time. I kept going back and forth with my ex, who was just wasn't reaching him. And I was like, man, I was really in that stage. I was like straight up domesticated at this time. And because this is the way I was putting me. But I just kept, just like I couldn't reach him. So I put a little note. I said, I'm going to pray for 10 days and I'm going to fast. If anybody know going to church, that's where you was taught. I said, I'm going to fast, I'm going to pray for 10 days. It was just my own little remedy, right? And I did that. And I said, I put a little note in his lunch I made for he was going to work. And I put the note in there and I said, I know that we don't see eye to eye. And I know that you don't understand where I'm coming from. And I know you want me to get what you're saying. I need you to know that I do. And I love you enough to say, let's not even talk about it no more. Whenever you have a different change of mind, or if you don't, I'm just going to rock with you anyway. Until then, I'm going to pray. Okay. So that changed the game for him because I no longer was doing this, coming at him. Let's talk about it. I said, this is a fight that I can't win, and I need somebody that I know that's going to reach him. Not a friend, not a family member. God. That's who's going to reach him. So I needed to pray to him to get through to him, right? Because his emotion was so strong. My whole point that I think everybody needs to make in any type of relationship, same thing in children. I pray when I need to reach my boys. It might not happen then, it might happen later. That's why I have, Ed, a slow reaction to things. Oh, I might not talk to you about it today because I want to be effective. And when I talk to you about it, I want to be with purpose and intention to get resolved from it. Because you might think everything is okay. And everything is okay. I love you enough that I still want to be able to have that. But I don't need, if you care about me, you don't want me walking around feeling indifferent towards you. I need to give you the opportunity to be able to express to me not to feel that way. Kim, I don't want you to feel that way. And since you do feel that way, I'll be able to see if I can work on that so you don't feel that way. That's what a man needs instead of just not talking about it, walking away from it, okay? And then you guys suppress. That's the number one thing that you guys do. But I think men are, like you said, Ed. I think that sometimes you guys are even more emotional. But you're just not going to show that to everybody. It just don't come out like that. And if you don't have that platform, this is what my dad said, and I think it's so true. Home should be your peace. It's not always a house, okay? It's not. Sometimes home is a person. So when you have that, that's where your peace, because even control emotions need to come out.
They do.
And that's how you evolve.
I I agree with all of that. That sentiment is very powerful and very strong, and I think that that's a conversation we need to continue to have and really addressing
Mhm.
the emotions of each other, and expressing that understanding that we have our emotions and certain things trigger us, or certain things affect us differently as men and women. Allowing that person to have that space. Sometimes guys feel, and this is, I think it's a, I'm not whatever. I think it might be a weird way, but some people feel that some men feel like they express themselves to a woman emotionally, break down, be vulnerable, that they kind of be looked upon as disrespected. Like, oh, he just a weak ass nigga now, weak ass dude,
Right.
man. And some
That's
people,
absolutely correct. Yeah.
and I think that depends on who you're. That's why I say this all the time. You cast your pearls not among the swine. You should not be dealing with people. You should be able to decipher that these people are not worth your. You got certain people you can allow in that space. And me and Kimmy have been talking about that. We've been growing that area right recently where we're like, okay, well, we're gonna let these people in this part of my life, not
Right.
certain things. So with that kind of thing, if you involve with somebody as a man and you feel like you can't, you should be able to feel that, because you should be emotionally connected to that woman if you're in a relationship, a loving, long-term, committed relationship or whatever. I think you should have had that. Y'all should have crossed that bridge where you feel emotionally connected. You should feel like you should be able to say that. And once the man does express to you his vulnerability, how he feels, what's keeping him down, what's keeping him low, if he's feeling weak or whatever like that, it is your duty as his woman or his partner to protect that, just as it's his to protect your emotion. I was told that I had to be more conscious of protecting the heart of the one I love, which means it's not so much the stuff that I do when I'm around them, stuff that's the stuff I do when I'm not around them. How I am protecting their heart when I'm not around, and that's an emotion you have to be able to respect their feeling on that as a man. So I agree with you on all count
Mhm.
that we have to be more forthright with how we feel, and we have to be more forthright with who we engaging with, who we are giving our life to, or giving our hearts to, our time, our affections, our attentions, our time, and how are they going to protect that feeling and being able to protect that emotion, and allowing a person again to be emotional or express emotions, and not necessarily being. I don't advocate anything. If you feel like you have to be a super, your masculinity is questioned because you have emotional moments, or you have feelings and you're hurt or whatever, or you're crying about something, or you're sad about something. If you feel, if that's your angle, that you feel like, hey, that's not a man, hey, cool, more power to you. I'm so glad I'm at a point in my life where I don't get caught up in the what's a man, what's not a man. And I don't get caught up in that. Oh, I don't. My sexuality, my manlyhood, my manhood is never. I never feel at this point. I don't feel questioned about that. Like what I don't know. I don't. That's I'm just so beyond that. My brain, my mind is so elevated that
Mhm.
I don't think like that. I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of doing as a man. What I know I can provide. I know how I can protect myself and my family. I know what I can bring to the table in a lot of regards as a leader. And so, if I feel emotional in a moment, now my biggest thing, what she said, is control my emotion. How do I, for me, how do I control my emotion in regard to how I respond and react when something pisses me off? How do I control my emotion at that moment? Where, like, let's say Kimmy can go a mile a minute. We talking back and forth, blah 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 blah. I get so mad that I can't do nothing, but I gotta, because she got the last word. So now what I do? Now I gotta attack you. I'm so mad. I gotta punch the hall. I gotta drive and leave the house and go smash somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So control your emotion, where it's like you can take the feelings you have, the love, the feeling of defeat, the feeling of I can't keep up with them vocally or verbally, and then and just controlling that and understanding how where to harness that. Calm down, take a minute, take a chill. I used to love this thing when it comes to relationships. I used to love this thing. We used to have a code word or code phrase, and I'm gonna share this one code phrase I do with my one spouse, and that's when we was getting too far. And we say this phrase, and I don't, may not work for you guys, but we say this phrase, and for us it works because we tell each other calm down, and we say calm down because that's the last thing, any when you mad and somebody tell you to calm your ass down,
Mhm.
that's the last thing you're gonna do is calm down. and we know that you fucking pissing me off, but we can't do nothing but laugh. Like I know, you know. So we say, man, just calm down, and we just start busting up laughing because I know you fucking with me. I know you can't be telling me to calm down. So that's a way that we do. Those are clues in a relationship when you're in a relationship with somebody where you say, okay, this is how I'm going to calm this emotion. I'm going to bring myself down, or shelve it down, as Kimmy would say. But those are tips that I use as far as controlling those emotions. And then controlling emotion is not necessarily not having them. It's just necessarily it's expressing them. That's a controlling too, expressing them in a healthy way. Especially when you can watch what you say, because we all know when you say something, watch what you say, because once you can't get back, you have to control that emotion too. So, and that so those are my little tips with that, and my ideas and my opinions on that. So I think that I think that we covered it pretty good. I want to go further on another episode with this because it's important to try to come up with some tips as to what you do when you're frustrated, what to do when you're really sad. You feel like you don't have that covering, that you can't express yourself, or you feel like this ain't the time. Um, I know Kimmy, we were talking about this earlier. You were like, sometimes every moment ain't the time to react.
Mhm.
Like this ain't the time for that. Like it was so funny. I was giving her a hard time today. It was so funny. I love messing with her. And she was like, I'm not going to give you no energy. I can't do this
Mhm.
thing because when I tell you I can go there, but it was just so, I was in the mood to fuck with her.
And
But
it's a control, but that's a
it wasn't
controlled
that thing.
emotion. You
Yes.
have to be able to, because I could have been, you could be like, okay, so in a relationship or even in friendship, and the one person is feeling some kind of way, and you're not in that mode because you'll be all over the place. Ed, no, I'm gonna go on record, and I think he's okay for me to say this. He's all over the place. If it's anybody, if my time of being challenged, my number one challenge is to learn to be patient with someone that do have this. Okay, some days I'm this, some days I'm don't. He has a spouse, child, life, everything, and then a partnership, friendships, everybody. They say everybody understands that, and then, but that's not true. Everybody have to deal with him according to wherever he's at. Not an easy thing all the time, but at the same time, when you say, well, I'm like that. I know my ex used to say something. I'm like that. Then why you react? But listen, I can know you that way. Just like you can know I'm a certain way, but that doesn't mean I make it easy for you. Doesn't
Mm,
mean it doesn't bother you. Doesn't mean it doesn't affect you.
mm,
So I have to learn to control how I'm going to deal with you to keep my sanity.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I have to control my emotions to be able to let you still be who you are, but don't lose myself in the process. And that is work. But once again, we're saying this, but it only works for that person you actually care about. Because if your ass don't care about them,
Yeah,
then
yeah, that shit, right?
you like, well, if you don't get your ass on with that, I mean, and right now these days, that's what most people is more written off than they are written in someone's life. I mean, that's true. So
That is
normally
it.
we try to go short, but we didn't.
Well, I think we did pretty good. So listen, guys, like, subscribe, and share. We're gonna do an announcement this Saturday. So the 7th at 7 p.m. We're gonna do an announcement about it. And we're gonna award someone with a prize for uh, liking and subscribing. Helping us get our subscribership up. And
Mhm.
we got the award Kimmy's gonna present, and we'll talk about it. Introduce you guys on Saturday the 7th.
Mhm.
I don't. This show is gonna air. I don't know when it's gonna air. So of course,
This gonna air today.
it's gonna air today.
Since we talking about tomorrow, it got to.
Well, there's that. So,
There's
guys,
that.
listen, like, subscribe, and share. Us on with Mitchell and Mitchell Sip and Spill on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and Anchor. Which we got to get more content on there. Please go on Anchor and check out some stuff. That's got some very funny things on there. So, listen, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Continue to follow us. Keep us
Mhm.
lifted up and encouraged. Your comments mean a lot to us. We get new comments every day. It means something to us. We actually do read them. We're not at any level to feel like we shouldn't anyway, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it. We're very grateful for the people who
Mhm.
rock with us from the beginning and until now. All right. So like, subscribe, and share. We'll talk to you guys soon. Mitchell and Mitchell Sip and Spill is out. We like you, love you, want more of you. It's been real. It's been fun, and our show is always real motherfucking fun. We'll talk.